Right now we have a special guest here on the broadcast. We have the Deputy Chief Minister of Karnataka, C.N. Ashwath Narayan, joining us here on Mirror Now to talk about Karnataka's battle against COVID-19 and, of course, the specific challenges that the state is facing. I welcome you, Mr. Ashwath Narayan, for giving us your time this afternoon here on Mirror Now. Thank you for joining us. I want to begin by asking you that there was a very specific suggestion made by your chief minister during the conference to the Prime Minister about the demarcation of zones. Now, what B.S. Yediyurappa seems to be suggesting is that this kind of demarcation should be removed and the states perhaps should be left to decide on how the limits are drawn around these zones. Can you explain to us how this will work? Are you also in some way saying that only containment zones should remain and this color coding should be done away with?
In the yesterday's video conferencing, with regard to the state stand, our Honorable Chief Minister proposed in the red zone, instead of the entire area being called as a entire city being categorized as a red zone, wherever the containment, wherever the infection or the infected people are living, those areas should be called. Now so far we have defined those containment areas. So those containment areas only we need to have a restricted activity. A big city like Bengaluru, where more than 1.5 crore people to up to 2 crore people live here, this kind of limitation will affect many of the livelihoods and the economy. So this kind of relaxation is required so that economic activity can begin and a lot of people can have livelihood. So entire city being under the red zone is very challenging. Instead of that, the areas of the red zoning or the activity restriction should be only to the containment area. That was a request given by our Honorable Chief Minister on behalf of Government of Karnataka. And we didn't ask that it should be, the power should be given to the state, nothing like that. Only we have impressed upon the Government of India to look into it and consider the proposal.
Okay. All right, so that's a very specific proposal that has been made by Karnataka. But in the overall picture, perhaps you have the luxury to ask for that kind of relaxation. Your numbers are still below 1,000. With Karnataka, the last I checked, had 904 cases of COVID-19 infections, but 446 have recovered. So the numbers are still on the lower side compared to the worst affected states of your neighbor like Maharashtra, for instance. So certain things have worked well for your state, Mr. Narayanan. What would you say were those factors that have worked in your favor, and which are the areas you think your state need to focus on? Because I do remember that there was a issue raised about migrants coming in, especially from states like Rajasthan and Gujarat, contributing to your figures.
Basically, madam, we from the very beginning, a lot of precaution was taken up, and we started working in this direction. A lot of measures were taken by our state government and under the direction of Government of India. Luckily, we were able to contain the disease very effectively. But challenges, always there will be a challenges, not that there will not be any challenges, since this is a contact disease with a long incubation period. The chances of getting infected are there all the places, the scope is there. But meanwhile, this virus is going to stay for a long. See, there needs to be a balance between a lives and livelihood. So keeping in mind, until a cure has been developed or a vaccine has not been developed, how long can we wait? That's also one more important thing. So keeping in mind all the challenges and the issues and the concerns, we just wanted to work out in a very effective manner. So wherever there's a disease or the infection is there, we'll just definitely restrict the activity in those areas. Rest remaining areas, we want to allow the economic activity, and we need to go on for a long period. Until a vaccination is developed, there will be, unless there is no cure, there is challenges unless the herd immunity or the immunity It's been developed in the society over the time. Only thing is we need to ensure there will not be any spike in cases. The curve has to go flat, spread over the time, spread over the across the time, so that there will not be much of constraint on the system. So we are working in this direction. If you look at the infrastructure,
Okay.
we have built a lot of dedicated hospitals exclusively for the COVID, and we have leveraged the technology. The technology is effectively placed. We are able to capture all kind of data with regard to men management, material management, or the assets. So, and even the analysis, analytics, capturing the inputs. In all the levels, we are able to capture a lot of inputs, and we are effectively managing through telemedicine, teleconsultation. Without infrastructure also, we are able to provide them domiciliary treatment services to the various people. So not necessarily they don't have to depend on health services, they don't have to come out, they don't have to come to the dispensary, to the hospital. We are trying our best to keep them away from the system and provide them all the kind of care. It's been very effectively happening. For the serious people or the patients, whoever wants to get admitted also, the facility is wide open, and we do have 50,000 beds exclusively for COVID patients. So we are geared up, and we are effectively, we know at present when we began, when the infection started, we just had 2 labs. Today we have more than 35 labs. By the end of this month, we'll be having 60 labs. So like this, we are in a very good position. We are able to develop a lot of kits, PPE kits, lab kits, testing kits, VTMs, many products. So in biotechnology, parallelly we are trying to come out with a lot of treatment line, convalescent therapy, or the plasma therapy, or the stem cell, and a lot of research, a lot of activity, treatment lines. We are working out in many ways how best we can tackle this COVID-19.
Right. So far, so good, Mr. Narayan. But I want to ask you that going forward, a few things are going to change. As we all know, from the 17th of May, there's already this resumption of train services. Flight operations might resume as well. So there will be a new set of dynamics now again. You're saying that in terms of tracing, testing, treatment, your state has done well. But every time the dynamics change, there has to be a new set of rules. Are you prepared for that? And what is the new normal that you think people of Karnataka in particular should be prepared for?
There are challenges, the migration of the people, the movement of the people from one region to other region, people going from our state to different states, and our people coming from different state to our state. There's been a lot of movement of people. I do agree, they the tendency to spread the virus is very good. Scope is there. Even then, we are trying our best to have an institutional quarantine for the people whoever is coming from the different states. We do have an institutional quarantine for 14 days, so that they'll be kept under the observation. The first day itself will be testing them for the virus, and even the final day, the 14th day or the 13th day or the 12th day, we'll be checking them. Before sending them to their respective houses, we'll be screening. And more so, even if it goes up, still if the number increases, we have built a good system. So far, I've explained what are things we have planned to do, and definitely we can effectively handle. And there is a scope for spiking. This is the kind of inputs what we are getting. We are anticipating, not that we don't anticipate everything will be in a very good control, that everything will be in a very good condition, nothing is going wrong. We are anticipating. See, if you don't anticipate, the challenges or the problems, we can't prepare. So we are anticipating a lot of challenges. We are geared up, and we are prepared to handle any kind of challenges, any kind of contingency challenges. We are prepared, madam, and I think definitely we can manage very effectively.
Right.
And we need to do it, and that's the way forward.
All right.
So for the movement, and it comes with a cost.
Yes, that's a lot of
always
optimism,
anything,
and I'm sure
when you get out of the lockdown,
yes,
definitely there is scope. I will not tell that everything will be all right, everything will be fine, nothing is going to go wrong. Definitely there will be challenges, I agree, but we need to effectively manage. That's the reason we are trying to create a lot of awareness among the people, use of the technology, Arogya Setu, or many things, Apta Mitra, many things we are trying to do. And we want to effectively manage and tackle this COVID-19. Along with that, the livelihood also has to be
Okay.
restored and addressed, and even the economy revival has to happen. How long people also,
Yes.
lives and hunger also has to, can't go on for long, no?
Right. That's a tough balancing act, Mr. Narayan. And like you rightly
Hello.
pointed out, it's a collaborative effort. People's participation equally important in this, and therefore the thrust on awareness that you were talking about. But there are suggestions being sought by the Prime Minister, Mr. Narayan, as you know, from different states, and that is to come in latest by the 15th of May. So what are the suggestions, particularly that Karnataka is mulling over? Because these are going to be formal communication to the Prime Minister from each state. So can you give us the points that Karnataka would be focusing on in its communication to the Prime Minister that has been sought by the PM himself?
The most important thing main demand was with regard to the relaxation of the red zone, so that in the red zone, excluding
Right.
or accepting excluding the red zone, containment zone, rest remaining all the areas should be allowed to to allow the economic activities, just like similar to the green zone. The activities should be allowed even in these zones wherever there is no infected zone or the containment zone is not there. And remaining the opening up of the public transportation system also should be allowed. Public transportation system need to be allowed and encouraged, so that there will be much of the movement. Otherwise, movement of the people also has been very challenging. And even with regard to the treatment, all the mild symptom people are asymptomatic also should not be put into the hospital. They should be kept in the home isolation. They should be treated in their respective houses. That's also one of the suggestion. So that way forward, if the number increases, if the number goes beyond our imagination, beyond our expectation, in those kind of simplification should happen. Rest, just like across the world, what are the best practices being adapted in different countries? On those similar lines, even in our state, we need to adapt so that it becomes easy to manage the situation. Otherwise, loading every asymptomatic person also into a hospital, it will be a burden. That is a real challenging factor. And getting people out of this fear and stigma, that's the most important thing. Getting people out of this fear and stigma, this has become the real challenging. The people have been living with a lot of fear and stigma, and the people who gets infected, they've been discriminated very badly, and they've been targeted. That should not happen. It can happen to anybody. See, it can happen to anybody. Not that particular people only are prone for this. Anybody can contract this disease. So that kind of discrimination should end. For that, we need to create a lot of awareness and acceptance among the people. This is the way forward we are trying to create. And solution with regard to the health management, and the kind of establishment or the facility what we have developed, we have shared with Honorable Prime Minister with regard to the reforms in education system. In education also in the future, as our Honorable Prime Minister was suggesting, the way forward in the adapting of the technology in education is very relevant. And we need to get into more of online education and more of a technology-backed education, so that it comes to address these kind of challenges we can address. Even in the tourism sector also, we need to work out a lot of solutions so that we can bring in the revival of the tourism sector, education sector, healthcare. Healthcare is most important and challenging area. We need to focus a lot and strengthen and promote education healthcare system, so that it will address all our challenges. Along with COVID, we can face many more diseases, and more monsoon is approaching. We'll be facing a lot of issues. These are some of the aspects where we...
All right, so new modules to be decided.
The public transportation should be kept open.
Yes, for health sector, for education, for tourism. Yes, and those are very important points indeed, not just for Karnataka, but for states across India. And I believe that the information that we have has already indicated, Mr. Narayan, that the states will have to operate at the micro level, the micro managing, like you said, about hospitalization and taking a decision on who will get the first access to the facilities. But the center will take the larger decisions, which will uniformly apply to everyone. So there will be, in fact, a very clear demarcation of